Welcome to the Empress Lioness, a sacred space where the spirit roars and the soul remembers everything. In each episode, we sit with visionaries, founders, creators, and healers. I'm your host, Karen Mitchell.
The relationship and it's almost, again, it's like she's my Obi-Wan Kenobi, and like I could call her like, can you believe this? And she will be so real and transparent with me. It's not even funny. So it's like that was definitely indeed a blessing, like a blessing. So I know we went all around the world in 80 days, but I encourage those women who are like, I need a mentor, I need a business coach. Definitely exercise. And it doesn't have to be somebody famous or somebody who was like, killing it, right? It could be somebody that is in your local network who is also an entrepreneur, might not necessarily be doing what you're doing, right? Because they essentially can share the same, they essentially share the same business woes. And also, too, I must say, too, they don't have to always be your skin color, right? It could be a man, it could be a white man, it could be a white woman. I encourage those women out here, they don't have to look like you, right? And that's also a plus too, because they could give you another perspective on thought process, how to do
Yeah.
business and all of that. So I just encourage those, be open. It doesn't have to look like what you think it's going to look like, but definitely get a business coach if you can. There are resources out there that are free where you could get a business coach and they could put you on the path to where you need to be.
Yeah, good. That's good information. I love the
Yeah.
fact that you mentioned to our listeners it doesn't matter skin color.
No,
Because sometimes when you ask for something, we expect it to show up in a package. And I'll
exactly.
be the first to tell you that I have never met any mentors my skin color that have been willing and able to assist me. And so sometimes I get a lot of advice from people outside of my race. So that
Right.
is good idea to keep an open mind. I just want to point that.
Please. Yes. Definitely keep an open mind. Definitely keep an open.
So, Gianni, tell us, how did founding 15 East Media Group become an act of self-definition, not just entrepreneurship?
Wow. Great question. So before I created 15 East Media Group, I did have another name, another business in mind, but it just didn't serve me. And I was just going through, I was metamorphosing, if you will. So it's funny how 15 East Media Group came about. I was, as during my metamorphosis process, I was like, okay, what am I going to name my new firm? And it was like 15 East. And I was like, this is kind of scary. You know what I mean? How it just came about, right? And as I started laying the foundation brick by brick by brick, I knew it was a bigger mission, right? I knew it was bigger than I wanted to offer services that colored outside of the lines of creativity, right? I knew it was also pulling up those who are younger than I that want an opportunity, right? Who may, try to interview for your larger firms that have larger clients, but may not be able to get their foot in the door, right? So I knew it was each one teach one and pulling them up. So I knew it was bigger than what I envisioned and what I imagined. So because at the end of the day, I want to be able to leave a legacy, right? So a lot of people are like, well, the climate is crowded with agencies, which is very true, right? But for me, what makes our agency stand out is, again, not only do I have that corporate background, but for us, we like to think outside of the box, right? And a lot of people say, oh, we think outside of the box too. We're ahead on trends. No. Do you act on that though? Right? See, for us, we act on it. You know what I
Very
mean? And
important.
it's very important. And for us too, if a client hires us to execute a public relations strategy, right? And we need to set up interviews and all of the things, we're not just going to rely on contacting people via email. No, we are going to be tyrants almost, right? Like stalking people to be able to give our clients news, right? Because for me, okay, if people are paying you for a service and paying you very well, you can't tell your client no.
Right.
That's out of the question. It might be a not now, right? But it's not a no. So I think
Right.
people have to, especially entrepreneurs, they have to keep that in mind, but also level set, right? Because you can't, have a client saying, they want to be on the Emma Grede podcast, in 3 weeks. That's not going to happen, right? Unless you have the cure for cancer, right? Or something of that line. But even
Right.
then, right? But just, being able to not only manage your client's expectation, but also going above and beyond for your client. Because at the end of the day, Karen, I'll be honest with you. Out of all of the clients that I have, 100% of them that I've acquired have been through word of mouth. It has
Wow.
not been through pitching, cold pitching. It has not been through doing ads on Google or geotagging and all of that. No. Each and every client that I've had or have has been through word of mouth. So that just shows how powerful, even in the year of 2026, how that's more powerful and how
Still.
that stands true.
Yeah. Still to this day. And
Still.
that's the only way I advertise my business also, word of mouth. Because when you get someone that say, "Hey, I'm having this issue. I know somebody because they did a great job for my mom," and
Right.
you know that person and they're saying that, you're like, "Oh yeah, this give me their number."
Right, right, absolutely, absolutely, and it still shocks me too because I'm like, "How did you find out about who we are?" You know what I mean? I still think of it like we're
Yeah.
the little engine that could, but it's just like, "No, girl." Like, that's not the case, you know what I mean? So, yeah,
Yeah, wow.
yeah.
So I want you to give our listeners the tell them a little bit more about what it is that you do, what it is that you're working on, how you're contributing in the community, and how they can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. So our agency is a marketing agency and we work within the pillars of brand strategy, social media strategy, along with PR. So we actually work with a myriad of clients. We work in the nonprofit sector. We also work in the government contract sector, and we also work in the lifestyle sector. So we've worked with clients from Port Authority of New York and New Jersey to Broadway shows, like, Tony Award winning Broadway show productions, right? So for us, yeah, absolutely. So for us, we know that each client is, has different asks, right? And the scope is different. So the way we approach, our work for, let's just say, a port authority or another government entity is going to be totally different from, let's just say, our Broadway clients, if you will, right? So it's just really being able to differentiate how to build out strategy and how to really be able to execute that strategy, for your clients. Being able to be versatile, right, with, the ask, because sometimes, it's going to be vastly different. Right? For us, like I said, everyone on the team, now that I think about it, has a myriad of experience or some sort of touch point to corporate. And again, I think that that's what differentiates us from, of course, the rest. With regards to our marketing director, myself, right? Even boiling down to, our lead designer, right? Graphics and all of the things. So for us, and we don't just mainly, because we are based in the New York City, New Jersey area, we don't just focus on clients in that area, right? We
Okay.
work with clients all over. We actually also had an international client that was our nonprofit client, which we actually absolutely adored and loved working with. So just being able to, adapt and making sure it's a right fit too, right? Because sometimes with clients, you're signing a new client, and it's just not a right fit. But going back to your original question, like I said, we're located in the New York City, New Jersey area. We're easy to find. Our website is 15eastmediagroup.com. If anyone wanted to, reach out to me to ask me any questions, I'm always open and, willing to discuss that. Our email address is on the website, but just in case they can't find it, it's info at 15eastmediagroup.com. And 15 is spelled out FIFTEEN, East as in the direction, mediagroup.com. Yeah, and it's so funny because when I was talking to you before, I thought about the quote that Deborah Martin Chase. I'm not sure if you or your listeners are familiar with Deborah Martin Chase, but she's basically the creator of the Cheetah Girls and all of the things. Yeah, she's a really heavy hitter in all things production, whether it be TV, film, or Broadway. I remember she said a quote in Essence magazine years ago. I love what I do, but what I do is not who I am. That stuck with me when I read that. That was in 2002. I never forget it. And I vowed in 2002 that when I meet Deborah Martin Chase, I am going to quote this quote to her. And last year, we worked on a project together with a Broadway show and we had lunch. And I told her that, and she was floored. She said, "You remember that?" I was like, yeah, like what? Like, are you serious right
To
now?
change your life.
Yes, I was like, "That quote rings true." She was like, "It does, doesn't it?" And I was like, "Yes, like, hello, you're the one who said it." Like, you know what I mean? So just being able to, and the power of your tongue is real. Just and I know a lot of people, saying manifestation, woo woo. No, 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 no. Really think about it. The power of the tongue is real. How I said
Real.
that in 2002, like when I meet her, I can't wait till I recite this. Of
Right?
course, it took over 20 something years, but it happened.
It happened. It happened when it was supposed to happen. Your
Bingo.
business started
Yes.
when it was supposed to start.
Yes.
And that's what I want people to understand is that
Yes.
nothing happens before it's time. Because
No.
sometimes you have to go through the journey of learning, of
Mm,
experiencing, of fine toothing it or refining it. So when you finally get it, you got it.
yes.
You got it.
That could not have been said any more eloquently. It's funny because I've been doing this since 2017 but still doing, of course, consulting work before then because I ended up getting laid off from Goldman Sachs in 2011. So from 2011 to 2017, 16, 17, I was doing consulting work. And then it wasn't until 2017 I said, you know what, let me do this for real, right? And
Yeah.
incorporate my business and do all the things and blah blah blah. I'll be honest with you, Karen, I didn't get popping until the pandemic. The
Mm.
pandemic is what catapulted me, right? Because, due to unforeseen circumstances with George Floyd, it was like, how can we patronize, minority owned businesses and women businesses? And then when
Yeah.
they found, like, our agency that was in the New York, New Jersey area that can essentially do the same thing as our Caucasian counterparts, it was like, oh my God, there's a woman that could do this. I'm like, I've been here. What? What is happening? You know what I mean? So, and it was like a fire just basically, rose through the ashes, if you will, right? And we've just been going and going and going ever since. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Our stories are similar. That's why it's blowing my mind.
Oh, wow. Oh, really? Yeah,
I'll tell
yeah.
you, the podcast I've done today alone, like, I don't know what's happening today, but it's just all like somebody's telling my story. And that is why this
Serendipitous.
podcast, yes. And that's why it's so important because I know for our listeners, some of my guests are telling their story. It's resonated with them. And
Yeah,
it's not just so much that you've built a very successful business, but it's also from your journey that
yeah.
people can resonate with you and see you as a person, a
Yes.
real person, and not just someone out here trying to get them to join the PR firm, you know what I mean? Or become a
Right,
client.
right,
And that's really what I want to portray here. You know what I mean?
right.
So this has been a very interesting and like the conversation is just it wild out.
Yeah,
But I love it because
good way, in a good way, in a good way.
that's the direction I want to I want people to hear real women
Yeah.
having a conversation about
Yes.
real life stuff. You know, it's one thing for you to come on the podcast and tell us about your company and all these great things that you're contributing, but they need to know where you came from
Let me
before
tell you
you got.
something. I was on government assistance, foreclosure notices, okay? Like came to this girl right here because
Yeah,
and it's not like I, wasn't out here trying to proactively get work. I mean, I applied at Dunkin' Donuts, okay?
girl.
College educated, and this is please receive this in the spirit it was intended. I could not find a job or some sort of contract work to save my life while I was working on my business. I had something, but they ended up laying people off again. It was like a contract position, right? But,
Yeah.
you know, it just, I had to have the foresight, right? And the fortitude to really stick it out. Like when
Yeah.
I say lights cut off,
Yep.
get on a payment plan,
Yep.
all of those, me, this girl. Yes. Yes. But there was just voices like, this is a part of your journey.
Yeah.
This is a part of your journey. You're not going to be down for long.
No.
You're not going to be down for long, you know? And then things always work out for the greater good. They really, really do. And again, I always talk about ego. If what you're doing is rooted from a positive place and not from ego, things are going to come out the wash clean. You may not be able to see it now, but it's going to come out the wash clean.
I'm going to do let me tell you why your business is going to be so successful and why this is going to be your legacy for your children and your children's children. Let me tell you
Tell me.
why is because you listened to the voice that told you to do this. Therefore, this is not your business per se.
Right.
There's a CEO over your business. You understand?
I do.
They put you in place because you're going to serve some people that he needs you to serve.
Sure.
This is more than just your PR firm. This is a gateway.
Yes. I
This is a
receive that.
gateway for an exposure for other entrepreneurs and people that need this service. That's why you're going to be successful. Not just because you know everything about it, but because you're hungry,
Right.
because where you came from, the struggles that you had to face, the experiences that you had to go through makes you a great PR professional. That's why. You can meet any client and see if they're fitting for you, but the clients for you, they're just gonna align. You're gonna feel it in
Yes.
your spirit. They're gonna be sent to you. That's why you don't have to advertise.
Yes. I receive that. Yeah. It's what is the saying? What's meant for you is for you. And can nobody or no entity
Nobody,
take it away.
nobody. My own business that I built, they've been trying to shut that down since I opened up.
Hmm.
And everyone along the way have told me, "Oh my God, you're going to be so great at this. You have the heart for this." I do. I'm here to help people. But you can't close something that it was not your idea to even open. And I tell them straight up and down, if you want to get rid of me, talk to the man that built this. I didn't build it. I'm just carrying out the work that I was told to carry.
Right.
You can't shut
Right.
it down. He has to be the one to do that.
Right. I do.
So it's extremely important for people to realize that when you have that nudge, when you have that feeling, you just got to go for it and trust that you're going to land on solid ground. Don't think about how is it going to happen. I don't have the money to make it happen. Just one step in front of the other and it'll
Right.
happen.
It will. It will. It will. And I also would encourage people too, your listeners, to really just enjoy the journey, the
For me.
ups and the downs. You be present because
Yeah.
before you know it, it's going to be 10, 15 years later and you're going to be on a yacht somewhere. You know what I mean? The Amalfi Coast and be like, how did I get here again? So you have to really be present in that journey, not only to, experience it, but learn those lessons because there are lessons that need to be learned during that time.
I received that. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
My God, Johnny, thank you so much for gracing your presence on our podcast today. It was such a pleasure to speak with
Yes.
you and get to know you a little bit more.
Yes. The pleasure was all mine for sure.
Tell our listeners again how they can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. Look us up, 15eastmediagroup.com. Email us at info@15, which is spelled out FIFTEEN, East, EAST, mediagroup.com. We are on social too. So on Instagram, we are 15east_MG. And my personal Instagram is GMONEY_CMB. Don't ask. Don't. Any 90 movie buffs will know where that came from.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. And for all of you beautiful souls out there, thank you for joining us in this sacred conversation. What I want you to carry from this episode, I wanted to leave your spirit in knowing that you don't have to keep shrinking your voice to fit inside rooms that only know how to reward what is safe. You don't have to filter your brilliance until it becomes unrecognizable. Step out there and be fearless. Don't allow fear to keep you stagnant, fear to keep your pockets empty. Move, even if it's one small step at a time. You know how to multitask. You can do two things at one time. If you're afraid, keep going at it because the company or the business that you are building is not just for you. It's for your generational line. It's for your children and your children's children. We have to start thinking big and stop thinking so small and shallow. Get out of that box and see what this world has to offer. But until next time, rise into the empress that you know you were called to be and rule your own throne. See you.
Ashe.
I'm your host, Karen Mitchell.